Afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the pre-employment personality test. And I'm going to show you 4 ways that you can beat this test so you can become qualified and you can perhaps get the interview for the position that you are seeking. Now, these personality trait examinations or personality tests, that's just another metric that companies are using to see if you are the correct candidate to fit with inside their culture. Now, it used to be you needed a resume that had all of your experience chronologically listed in descending order from your current job to the jobs that you had in the past. And also, organizations and credentials were also listed on your resume. But when you have a slow market, particularly a growth rate of 1%, employers tend to be a little bit more picky to who they hire. But I'm going to tell you this, when you have one of these personality tests, even those tests don't measure if that person is correct. They just pass the test. And what a lot of people can do, they can use the tricks that I'm going to supply to you so they can get themselves in the door. So the first order of business is understand the trait that they're looking for. So here's how you do it. You're looking for the desired traits and personality for someone in the role that you're applying for. Now, since you can improve your score by supplying appropriate answers to questions that assess critical characteristics. Now, here's an example. A desired trait for somebody who's a computer programmer is conscientiousness. So you may be asked whether you agree or disagree with these statements, which measure related behaviors such as diligence and reliability. So some of the questions that you will be asked pertaining to being a programmer that you're going to have to answer in a fashion of agree or disagree, or even neutral might be thrown in there as well as I am always prepared. I pay attention to details. I get chores done right away. I like order. I follow a schedule. The big important aspect of beating the personality test is take practice tests. A lot of people don't understand that, but how the test is structured can be a make it or break it day for you. And most of us, no matter how smart we are, we just don't know how to take the test. We don't know how to read the question correctly. So once you demonstrated or determined the desirable traits that the company is looking for, take several practice tests. See how you stack up. While you want to make a good impression, casting extreme answers to every question may actually hurt your chances. Here's an example. A system analyst or project lead or project manager has more interaction with stakeholders than a programmer. So you may need a high score on social interaction. On the other hand, programmers need to temper their answers to social interaction questions to make sure that they demonstrate a strong preference for independent work, but they don't come off as isolationists. So you can improve your score by modifying your answer. So again, you have to know what job you're applying for, and to add something extra, know what characteristics you're looking for and write the characteristics down. Now, this goes by a subject that I did a couple days ago on note taking. Always take notes as well, because it's very important, because you want to alleviate the garbage that's thrown into questions. That way you can break everything down to having common sense and you're able to answer the questions properly. Now, you have to spot control your questions. That's number 3. Watch out for the tricky questions that are specifically designed to flush out fakers. For example, you may be asked whether you strongly agree, somewhat agree, and neutral, somewhat disagree, or strongly disagree with this statement. I have never been truthful, even to save someone's feelings. Since you've probably told a white lie at some point in your life, strongly disagreeing with this and similar statements may cast doubt on the honesty of your answers. On the other hand, being overly tolerant of deceptive behaviors could show proclivity to bending the rules of the organization. Or you might not be someone that they're going to trust to be in certain positions such as leadership roles or managers or customer service. And there may be sensitive information that the company has, and they don't want to use you in that position because you may compromise the interest of the company. Now, here's an important part of this topic. Read the questions carefully. Test publishers validate an applicant's score by measuring the consistency of their responses to similar questions with different or reverse wording. Now, to avoid extra scrutiny, read carefully and provide similar responses to answers that assess the same trait. For example, if you strongly agree with, I have a good imagination, then you should strongly disagree with, I do not have a good imagination. Also look for words like never, often, sometimes, and consider their context when deciding to what extent to agree or disagree with a statement. Remember, taking practice tests is absolutely the best way to supply consistent, honest answers, and they will also improve your score. That is true. And with test taking, these tests are basically trying to measure traits. It has nothing to do with your GPA, your credentials, your experience. It's another metric to analyze that you have the temperament to work on that job. But I also believe it's another way to separate the best from the rest theoretically. Because again, as I mentioned, you can have somebody who can skate through this test, but be unstable. Because at the end of the day, when you are hiring new candidates and you give them a 90-day probation, this is when you're going to find out about somebody, because it's easy to put on a facade. If you're not someone who's very vigilant when it comes to action, but you just listen to what somebody says, you're going to find yourself looking very bad when you select employees. And then the management staff above you is not going to allow you to do the interview process as well. Now, do I believe these tests are fair? Depends on what position that you're applying for. People like myself who are engineers, I may give some of these tests to see if you are a good problem solver. And see, the questions would mostly involve problem-solving techniques. Now, when you match traits up, look at the job. Again, take the job and break it into components. You already have the experience to do a job, like a customer service representative. What characteristics or traits are needed as a psychological part of the job or behavior for you to meet? What are you supposed to meet, and how are you going to meet them if you don't know what traits are needed. A lot of us apply for a job because we're desperate, but we're unaware that the personality traits are going to be part of that job. Google the personality traits and look at some of the sample test questions as well. In fact, write some of the test questions down as well. Some of these tests take approximately 25 to 30 minutes to complete. And from what I've seen, a lot of these tests, they do have the same question. They just word it differently. They try to throw you off. They try to put different words in there, like never, just as I mentioned. But you cannot be extreme when it comes to the strongly disagree or the agree. You have to find out what the root of the problem is. And see, a lot of us look at information from the surface and then we react on an emotional level instead of thinking about, well, what is this test really asking? In order to pass any of these tests, you have to have the confidence and you have to have the practice. There again, I'm talking about application. You see, in college, high school, elementary school, we're always taught the theory. We're taught how to memorize. This is why the video I did a couple days ago on taking notes, if you take notes, you don't have to memorize because it's going to come second nature because you can perform it with application. It doesn't make you any smarter to pass a test because a test just shows your theoretical knowledge. Personality test is just quantifying certain trades or certain traits that you need for a trade or prospective employment. So overall, if you want to pass any of these tests, just look at keywords, take your time to practice the test. And again, it's several tests that you need to practice. There are no right or wrong answers. These tests are not timed. They're just part of the application process. And I tell you another thing psychological wise that these tests do, particularly if they're long, they try to wear you down. And what happens when you get worn down? You don't think about the answer that you are needing to work within the test. In other words, there's a certain characteristic. You start to go off in tangents. Here's the big thing. Take a step back and relax your mind so you can go back and read the question correctly. Because trying to be in a hurry, this is what they try. These are the simple games that they play. And getting a job is a game in itself. This is why you have to be good at networking. But if you are taking a test, learn how to take the test. And you only learn how to take the test by seeing what kinds of answers are going to be needed and the questions. But you have to be disciplined enough to take the test. And you have to understand that a lot of these jobs, we get more into personality than we do the actual skills needed. Now, I'm going to tell you why they ask these tests as well. Not just to be selective for candidates, because in an interview, particularly if you're going for a government job, the majority of the questions that they ask are not about what you do, because they can see what you do based off of your resume. If I'm going to interview with a civil engineer, and I'm a civil engineer, he sees the documentation that I have a civil engineering background. They're going to ask me about my behavior. How would I solve different problems? And that's what these tests, they administer to. They're just trying to see the different traits. But you need to know the traits and understand the traits that are needed for the job. And don't be in a rush. Because at the end of the day, it's only a test. If you don't get it the first time, come back and try it again. That's what succeeding is about. Because sometimes the best success is failure, but only if you learn from it. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show, Friday, December 2nd, 2016. You can tune into the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest calling number is 215-383-5785. And if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in emotional or controversial issues, nor do I participate in any drama or unnecessary bickering. So please be respectful. And we like to keep it positive here because I am providing an educational environment, because knowledge is power. If you have a business or a topic that you would like for me to discuss on Blog Talk Radio or YouTube, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Please feel free to comment. And I like comments. But guess what? Your comments must be pithy. No bloviating or pettifogging if you wish to opine. Now, I'm doing something new with my channel. I have a list of other channels that I am subscribed to. And for you who are my subscribers and my non-subscribers, go to the bottom of my YouTube channels and you can see a list of channels. The newest member I got, his name is Rashawn DeLay. Of course, I have Angry Man, Rom Wills, Ringo TV Raw, Obsidian, Big Body Matt Coley, and the list is too long to name everybody. But go and check these brothers' channels out and some of your sisters. I'll be looking at your work as well. If the information is good, I will list it under my video. And also, if you want to find more information on my videos, I have links in Facebook. Like if you have a Facebook group, you friend me on Facebook, I'll send you my videos. My videos also go out on Twitter. So check the other social media sites out. And my Blog Talk Radio shows, they're also archived. And I also send them out via Facebook and Twitter. And that is all the information that I have today. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other. And have a wonderful and blessed afternoon.